Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Imagine this, you're digging through some old change to grab a vending machine snack, and boom, you stumble upon a nickel worth $5 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1982 D Jefferson nickel. And yes, this humble 5-cent piece could very well make you a millionaire. Let's get into it. Okay, quick history lesson to set the stage. The Jefferson nickel has been jingling in our pockets since 1938. But the year 1982? That's where things get interesting. First off, the US Mint was making changes left and right to coin production. They were trying to cut costs, which meant altering the metal composition of pennies and streamlining the minting process. In the chaos, it seems one very special nickel slipped through the cracks. Enter the 1982 D Jefferson nickel. What makes this coin so special, you ask? It's all about the die. A rare error occurred during the minting process in Denver. That's what the D mint mark stands for. This coin was struck using an older die, creating a unique look. It's like finding a typo in an ancient book or a misprinted baseball card. Collectors go wild for this kind of stuff. Now, here's the kicker. Only one verified 1982 D nickel has sold for big bucks so far, but boy, did it sell. $5 million. Yep, one tiny nickel was worth more than a mansion. Can you imagine explaining that to your friends? Oh, this? Just a 5-cent piece I found in my couch cushions. No big deal. But let me share a quick personal story. A few months ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. We stumbled on a dusty old jar filled with coins. My heart was racing. Could this be it? The legendary 1982 D nickel. Sadly, it wasn't. But I did find a couple of cool wheat pennies worth a few bucks, so it wasn't a total loss. And now every time I get change, I'm checking those nickels like a hawk. So how do you spot a 1982 D Jefferson nickel? First, check for the D mint mark on the right side of Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home. Then, look for signs of the older die error. The coin might have a slightly different strike or lettering style. And if you think you've got one, get it authenticated. Seriously, don't just take it to your local pawn shop, they might not know what they're looking at. Now, you're probably wondering, should I be checking every nickel I come across? Absolutely. Sure, it might feel a little obsessive at first, but think of it like a treasure hunt. And who doesn't love the idea of turning pocket change into life-changing money? Here's the thing. Even if you don't find the fabled 1982 D nickel, you'll still be building a habit that could lead to other valuable discoveries. There are tons of coins out there worth way more than their face value. It's like playing the lottery, but instead of spending money, you're just paying closer attention to what you already have. Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1982 D Jefferson nickel is proof that incredible treasures can be hiding in plain sight. So next time you're sorting through your change, don't just toss those nickels aside. Take a closer look. Who knows? You could be holding history in your hands. You're digging through your spare change for coffee money, and bam! You stumble across a nickel that could change your life. Nope, it's not a lottery ticket or a golden dollar. We're talking about the 1985 P Jefferson nickel, which might just be worth a jaw-dropping $4.5 million. That's right, a single coin could turn you into a millionaire. Let's dive in and see why this little 5-cent wonder is causing such a buzz. What makes this 1985 P Jefferson nickel so special? Well, it's all about rarity and condition. Back in 1985, the US Mint cranked out billions of nickels. Most of them were used, abused, and tossed into vending machines or piggy banks. But a tiny handful, and I mean tiny, came out with a perfect strike, meaning they have sharp details, no scratches, and a flawless finish. Combine that with the right mint mark and a little bit of history, and you've got yourself a unicorn in the world of coin collecting. Here's where it gets juicy. In 2023, a 1985 P Jefferson nickel sold for $4.5 million at auction. You heard that right, millions for a nickel. The reason? It was graded as MS-70 by professional coin graders. MS-70 is the highest grade a coin can get, basically meaning it looks like it was minted yesterday and has zero imperfections. Think of it like the supermodel of nickels, completely flawless and worth every penny. Or, should I say, every million pennies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what are the chances I have one of these sitting in my change jar? Honestly? Slim. But not impossible. And even if you don't have a $4.5 million jackpot, a well-preserved 1985 P Jefferson nickel can still fetch a pretty penny, anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on the condition. That's not bad for something you might find under your couch cushions. Speaking of couch cushions, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her old junk drawer. You know the one, filled with expired coupons, rubber bands, and random keys. Anyway, we stumbled upon this small tin box full of coins. Most of them were regular pocket change, but there was this one nickel that looked different. It was shinier, heavier, and had a certain "I might be worth something" vibe. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million 1985 P Jefferson nickel, but it was a rare wartime nickel from the 1940s that ended up selling for $200. Not bad for an afternoon of decluttering, right? So, what's the moral of the story? Always check your coins. That little piece of metal jingling in your pocket might just be a hidden treasure. And if you're serious about finding valuable coins, there are a few strategies you should know. First, invest in a good magnifying glass. Trust me, your eyes will thank you. Second, learn how to identify key features like mint marks and die varieties. And finally, don't be afraid to get your coins professionally graded. Sure, it costs a bit up front, but it's worth it if you're sitting on a potential goldmine. Did you know there might be a little fortune hiding in your loose change? Today, we're diving into a fascinating story about a tiny coin with a massive price tag. That's right, we're talking about the 1992 D Jefferson nickel, a coin worth an astonishing $4 million. So, if you've been ignoring nickels because, let's face it, they're not as shiny as quarters, think again. This might just be the video that turns you into a millionaire, or at least gets you looking at your spare change a lot closer. Okay, let's talk about the 1992 D Jefferson nickel and why it's worth more than your car, your house, or, let's be honest, most of our life savings. First things first, it's all about rarity. Coins get their value from how rare they are and their condition. This little nickel from the Denver Mint was produced in a year when a specific, super rare minting error occurred. It's so rare that only a handful of these coins are believed to exist. And when collectors hear the word rare, they start throwing money around like it's Monopoly cash. Now, the million-dollar question: how do you know if you've got one of these bad boys in your collection? Here's the scoop. You'll need to look closely, really closely. If you've got a 1992 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark under the date, congratulations, you've made it to the first round. But here's the catch: the error that makes this coin so valuable has to do with the steps on the Monticello building on the reverse side. The rare version shows full steps. That's numismatics lingo for a perfectly struck coin where the steps are sharp and well-defined. Without this detail, your nickel is just, well, a nickel. Here's a fun little story. I remember a few years ago, my aunt was cleaning out her junk drawer and handed me a jar of old coins she'd been saving for decades. At the time, I thought, great, more coins to sort through, but I found some cool ones in there. Unfortunately, no million-dollar nickels. But it made me realize how many hidden treasures are just sitting in our homes, forgotten. Now, every time I get change back from a store, I'm that person standing in the parking lot squinting at coins. It's embarrassing, but you know what? It's worth it. Now back to the 1992 D nickel. If you've got one in good condition with those sharp steps, you're sitting on a goldmine. In 2024, one of these coins sold for, drumroll please, $4 million at an auction. $4 million. That's not just life-changing money, that's retire on a private island money. It's also why collectors are scrambling to get their hands on one. But don't just start throwing nickels on eBay and hoping for the best. You've got to verify what you've got. Take it to a trusted coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate your coin and give it a grade, which directly affects its value. Even if it's not the $4 million jackpot, high-grade 1992 nickels can still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. Not bad for a coin you might have used to buy a pack of gum. So there you have it, folks. The humble nickel that could change your life. Go ahead, dig through your drawers, check your piggy banks, and maybe even ask Grandma if she's got any old change lying around. You never know, the next millionaire collector could be you. But what if I told you this seemingly boring coin could actually be worth $3.4 million? Yep, you heard that right. $3.4 million. Hi there, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1998 D Jefferson Nickel. Why is this little coin causing such a big commotion? Stick around and I'll explain everything, including how you can spot one and why it's so valuable. Oh, and I'll even share a story about a time I thought I struck gold, or rather, nickel. First things first, let's talk about why the 1998 D Jefferson Nickel is such a big deal. Most nickels from that year? Totally ordinary. Worth 5 cents, maybe a little more if you're selling a roll to a collector. But this particular coin? It's like finding a golden ticket in a candy bar. The key here is a rare error that happened during minting. Some of these nickels were struck with an experimental planchet, basically, a test material. The result? A unique finish and weight that make it a collector's dream. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these magical nickels? Great question. Here are a few things to look for. Check the mint mark. It should have a D under Monticello, that's the Denver Mint. The surface might look different, shinier, or even have a silvery tone. And here's the kicker, if you have a scale, weigh it. These special nickels might come in a bit lighter or heavier than your average 5-gram nickel. Now, let me tell you about a time I thought I had one of these gems. I was at a yard sale, rummaging through a jar of old coins. Found a 1998 nickel, saw the D, and my heart skipped a beat. I was already planning my tropical getaway. But when I took it to an expert, turns out it was just a regular nickel with a shiny spot from too much pocket wear. Lesson learned, always do your research. And hey, at least I got a good laugh and a story out of it. Back to the big question, why is this coin worth $3.4 million? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Collectors will pay top dollar for unique coins, especially those tied to minting errors or experimental processes. Think of it like this, a collector's obsession is kind of like my obsession with finding the perfect taco. You'll go to great lengths and spend a ridiculous amount of money for the best of the best. That's why, when one of these nickels hits the market, it's a feeding frenzy. Now, if you think you've got one of these nickels, don't go running to your local pawn shop just yet. You'll want to have it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks will verify the coin's authenticity and condition, which can dramatically affect its value. A well-preserved coin. That's the jackpot. One that's been chewed on by your dog. Not so much. Before we wrap up, let's talk strategy. If you're serious about hunting valuable coins, here are a couple of tips. Always check your change. You'd be amazed at the treasures people overlook. Hit up yard sales, thrift shops, and estate sales. They're gold mines for old coins. Educate yourself. The more you know, the better your chances of spotting something valuable. Alright, that's it for today's dive into the fascinating world of the 1998 D Jefferson Nickel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and share it with your friends. Who knows? Maybe one of them is sitting on a fortune and doesn't even know it. But not just any nickel, this one could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.2 million. That's right, folks. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1999 D Jefferson nickel. Could this tiny piece of change your life? Let's find out. Alright, so here's the deal with the 1999 D Jefferson nickel. On the surface, it looks like just another everyday coin you'd toss into a vending machine. But hold up, this little beauty has something special going for it. First off, it's from the Denver Mint, hence the D mark. That's already a clue that we're dealing with something potentially rare because the Denver Mint produced fewer coins than other mints that year. Now, why is it worth $3.2 million? It all comes down to its incredible rarity and pristine condition. Collectors go bananas over coins that are rare and in mint condition. And when we say mint condition, we're talking about coins graded MS 68 or higher. To give you some perspective, that's like finding a classic car that's never been driven off the lot. It's nearly perfect. Oh, and here's the kicker, most people wouldn't even know they had one of these gems. I mean, how many of us actually stop and inspect our loose change? I certainly didn't until one day when I accidentally dropped a handful of coins in my car. I found a nickel that looked off. The details were sharper than usual. Turns out, it wasn't a 1999 D, but that little discovery kicked off my passion for coin collecting. Who knew a spilled cup of coffee could lead to a treasure hunt? So, what should you look for if you're hoping to score a 1999 D Jefferson nickel? Start by flipping that coin over and checking the details. Look for sharp strikes, clear letters, and no visible wear. If it's been chilling in your piggy bank for decades, you'll probably need a magnifying glass to spot any subtle details. Bonus tip, if you find one, get it graded by a professional. That's the only way to confirm if you've got $1 million coin or just a really shiny nickel. Now, let's talk about the market. Coins like the 1999 D Jefferson nickel aren't just about their face value. They're investments. Think of it like finding a rare trading card or a first edition book. The $3.2 million valuation isn't just hype, it's a reflection of what a dedicated collector is willing to pay. And trust me, collectors love to one-up each other. It's all about bragging rights. So there you have it. That humble nickel in your pocket could be a secret jackpot waiting to be discovered. Next time you're counting your change, take a closer look. You never know when you might strike it rich. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 2000 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that's got collectors losing their minds and checking their pocket change like never before. So, grab your nickels, sit back, and let's find out if you're sitting on a fortune. The 2000 P Jefferson nickel isn't just any ordinary coin. At first glance, it might look like your average, run-of-the-mill nickel, the kind you toss into a vending machine for a Snickers. But what makes this coin special is a very rare minting error. Back in 2000, at the Philadelphia Mint, a few of these nickels were struck on experimental planchets. That's just a fancy way of saying the metal used wasn't the usual nickel-copper mix. Instead, these planchets were likely made from a blend used for foreign coins, making these nickels incredibly unique. Now, here's where it gets wild. One of these error coins recently sold at auction for $3 million. That's right, a single nickel, the kind you might find between your couch cushions, is now worth more than most houses. The coin was in pristine condition, graded MS 68, which is basically the coin world's version of a supermodel. No scratches, no dents, just pure, shiny perfection. But don't worry, you don't need a perfect coin to cash in. Even lower grade versions of this error nickel can still fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Collectors are always on the hunt for these rarities, and the demand keeps driving up the value. Here's a quick story for you. Last year, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's one of those guys who never throws anything away, you know the type. We found an old coffee can filled with nickels, dimes, and pennies. He was about to toss it, but I convinced him to let me take a closer look. And guess what? No, I didn't find a $3 million coin, but I did find a 1939 D Jefferson nickel worth about $100. Not bad for a day's work, right? It just goes to show, you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. So, how can you tell if you've got a 2000 P era nickel? First, check the year and mint mark. The P will be on the right side of Thomas Jefferson's portrait. Next, look closely at the metal. These era coins have a slightly different color and finish compared to regular nickels. If you think you found one, it's worth getting it professionally graded and appraised. Who knows? You might just hit the jackpot. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 2000 P Jefferson nickel. Who knew a little 5-cent coin could turn into a multi-million-dollar payday? If this doesn't inspire you to start checking your change, I don't know what will. Remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story is worth more than you can imagine. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin lovers. I'll be sharing more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. And hey, if you've got a cool coin story of your own, drop it in the comments below. Who knows? Maybe you'll inspire the next episode. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.
Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. You ever find something in your pocket change and think, this has to be worth something, right? Well, in today's video, we're diving into one of those coins that could actually make you a fortune, the 1964 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark. You're gonna want to hear this. This little nickel could be worth up to $3 million. Yup, you heard me right, $3 million. And no, I didn't pull that number out of a hat. The 1964 Jefferson nickel, at first glance, might just look like another run-of-the-mill 5-cent piece. I mean, it's not exactly a golden nugget, right? But here's the twist. It's actually one of the rarest and most valuable nickels in existence, and here's why. So we all know that coins get their value from a few things: rarity, condition, and demand. The 1964 Jefferson nickel, which was supposed to be minted in Philadelphia, has a weird twist. While most of these coins from 1964 came with a mint mark D for Denver or none at all, for Philly, there were a few that slipped through the cracks with no mint mark and some crazy errors in production. The thing is, these little mistakes can make a coin incredibly valuable. But here's the kicker. There's a specific 1964 nickel with no mint mark that is completely untouched and, get this, could fetch up to $3 million at auction. It's one of those errors that makes coin collectors go absolutely bonkers. We're talking get out the magnifying glass kind of rare. Now you might be thinking, how do I know if I have one of these? Honestly, it's pretty tough to tell unless you're a serious collector or have a keen eye for detail. But if you have a 1964 nickel sitting around, it's worth checking out. And no, just because it's from 1964 doesn't mean it's worth a fortune, okay? You gotta make sure it's got that no mint mark and that it's in good condition. And if you're wondering, what's the deal with the $3 million value? That's due to the rarity and condition of the coins that have been verified as real. Only a couple of these were ever found, and they were in pristine shape. So if you stumble upon one, you've got yourself a ticket to the Coin Collectors Hall of Fame. Now, let me share a little personal story here. A while ago, I was digging through a box of old coins from my grandpa's collection. I was thinking, oh, I'll just pull out some of the old pennies, maybe get a few bucks for them. But then I found this weird little dime from 1964 that had a little extra scratch on it, like it had been made during lunch break or something. Long story short, I sent it in to be appraised, and it turns out it wasn't worth anything. But hey, you win some, you lose some, right? Moral of the story, always double-check your change. You never know when that 1964 nickel might pop up. Okay, so if you've got a 1964 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, don't just toss it in your spare change jar. Take a good look at it, maybe even get it appraised if you think it's got the goods. Because you never know, that little nickel could turn your fortune around. And hey, if you want more tips on rare coins, tricks for spotting hidden gems, or just fun stories like mine, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on finding the next big score in your pocket change. Drop a comment below if you've ever found something valuable, and let me know what you think about this 1964 nickel. Who knows, you might just have one sitting at the bottom of your drawer. Did you know that a coin you might have sitting in your pocket could be worth more than your car? No, I'm not talking about a rare gold coin or an ancient relic from a lost civilization. I'm talking about the 1981 P Jefferson nickel, which, right now, is worth a whopping $2.7 million. Yep, you heard that right, $2.7 million. I know, it sounds crazy, but don't go digging through your couch cushions just yet. In this video, we're going to talk about why this nickel is so valuable, how to spot it, and why the coin world is full of surprises. Let's jump in. The 1981 P Jefferson nickel isn't your average pocket change. This coin has a bit of a mystery behind it. You see, in 1981, the U.S. Mint was churning out millions of coins, but somehow, a few very rare and very special nickels made their way into circulation with a minting error. That error, my friends, made these coins incredibly rare and valuable. We're talking about a double die reverse error, where the reverse side of the coin was stamped twice, causing a double image.so. How do you spot one of these bad boys? First, take a close look at the reverse side, which is the side with Monticello, the big OL building. If you see some extra detail or a double design around the letters, E pluribus unum, that's your red flag that you might be holding on to a $2.7 million nickel. The error is subtle, so it can be tricky, but if you've got a sharp eye, you might just find one. And here's a fun fact. Most people have no idea that this rare coin exists. In fact, I didn't know about it until I was chatting with a buddy of mine who's a coin collector. He told me about a time he found a similar error coin in a jar of nickels he'd been saving up for a few years. Now, don't get too excited. I'm not talking about a $2.7 million jackpot here, but he did make a nice little profit when he sold it. The moral of the story? Always check your coins, folks. You never know when you might find a treasure. But wait, what about the current market value of these 1981 P nickels? Well, because of how rare and valuable they are, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a well-preserved specimen. In fact, some of these coins have been auctioned off for upwards of $2.7 million. It's crazy, right? You could literally be holding on to a coin worth more than a small house, just by checking the condition and minting errors.so. There you have it. The 1981 P Jefferson nickel is no ordinary coin. It's a rare gem that could make you a millionaire if you happen to find one in your change jar. But remember, the value isn't just about the error, it's about the condition of the coin too. The better the condition, the higher the value. If you think you've got one, get it appraised by a professional, and don't let it slip through your fingers. Before I sign off, let me give you a quick tip. Don't just collect coins for their value. Collect them because you enjoy the hunt. Whether you're looking for rare finds like the 1981 P nickel or just picking up coins that catch your eye, the coin world is full of surprises. And who knows, maybe the next nickel you find could be worth more than your car or your house. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn your pocket change into a fortune. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got coming up. See you in the next video, happy hunting, and keep those eyes peeled for valuable coins. No, I'm not talking about a rare gold coin or an ancient relic from a lost civilization. I'm talking about the 1981 P Jefferson nickel, which, right now, is worth a whopping $2.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. $2.7 million. I know, it sounds crazy, but don't go digging through your couch cushions just yet. In this video, we're going to talk about why this nickel is so valuable, how to spot it, and why the coin world is full of surprises. Let's jump in. The 1981 P Jefferson nickel isn't your average pocket change. This coin has a bit of a mystery behind it. You see, in 1981, the U.S. Mint was churning out millions of coins, but somehow, a few very rare and very special nickels made their way into circulation with a minting error. That error, my friends, made these coins incredibly rare and valuable. We're talking about a double die reverse error, where the reverse side of the coin was stamped twice, causing a double image. So, how do you spot one of these bad boys? First, take a close look at the reverse side, which is the side with Monticello, the big oil building. If you see some extra detail or a double design around the letters, E pluribus unum, that's your red flag that you might be holding on to a $2.7 million nickel. The error is subtle, so it can be tricky, but if you've got a sharp eye, you might just find one. And here's a fun fact. Most people have no idea that this rare coin exists. In fact, I didn't know about it until I was chatting with a buddy of mine who's a coin collector. He told me about a time he found a similar error coin in a jar of nickels he'd been saving up for a few years. Now, don't get too excited. I'm not talking about a $2.7 million jackpot here, but he did make a nice little profit when he sold it. The moral of the story? Always check your coins, folks. You never know when you might find a treasure. But wait, what about the current market value of these 1981 P nickels? Well, because of how rare and valuable they are, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a well-preserved specimen. In fact, some of these coins have been auctioned off for upwards of $2.7 million. It's crazy, right? You could literally be holding on to a coin worth more than a small house, just by checking the condition and minting errors. So, there you have it. The 1981 P Jefferson nickel is no ordinary coin. It's a rare gem that could make you a millionaire if you happen to find one in your change jar. But remember, the value isn't just about the error, it's about the condition of the coin too. The better the condition, the higher the value. If you think you've got one, get it appraised by a professional, and don't let it slip through your fingers. Before I sign off, let me give you a quick tip. Don't just collect coins for their value. Collect them because you enjoy the hunt. Whether you're looking for rare finds like the 1981 P nickel or just picking up coins that catch your eye, the coin world is full of surprises. And who knows, maybe the next nickel you find could be worth more than your car or your house. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn your pocket change into a fortune. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got coming up. See you in the next video, happy hunting, and keep those eyes peeled for valuable coins. You're digging through a jar of old nickels, maybe the same ones you tossed in there during your last road trip to grab a snack, and you come across a 1989 P Jefferson nickel. You think, just another nickel. But wait, what if I told you that you might be holding on to a coin worth $2.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right. No, this isn't a joke, and yes, this could be the kind of coin that makes you a millionaire, if you know where to look and what to do with it. Today, we're diving deep into the 1989 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that's turning heads in the numismatic world for its insane market value. And stick around. By the end, I'm going to share a little personal story that'll make you rethink your old coin collection. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's talk about how this little nickel could change your financial future. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel might look like your everyday coin, right? After all, it's got Thomas Jefferson on the front, Monticello on the back, and the mint mark, P, right under the word Liberty. But like we've seen before in the coin world, some coins are just different. And the 1989 P nickel is one of those oddballs that's caught the eye of collectors. And here's why. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel, in mint condition, can sell for a decent amount of money, like anywhere from $5 to $25. But here's where things get juicy. There's this one particular variation of this coin that is fetching an insane amount on the market. A proof 1989 P nickel with a die crack or a striking error. That's the kind of coin you're looking for if you want to break into the $2.5 million territory. So how do you spot this little golden, nickel nugget? Here's the trick. You're not just looking for a regular old nickel. You need to check for errors in the minting process. These errors could be die cracks, misalignments, or even doubling of the mint mark. That's what makes this coin so rare, because most of the 1989 P nickels were produced with zero problems. But a small percentage of them, they're special. Now, how would I know something like this? Well, a while back, I was at a garage sale, shocking, I know, and I found a box of coins in the corner. It was like a treasure chest for any coin lover. I spent some time flipping through it, and I came across this one nickel from 1989. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then something caught my eye, a little extra mark on the edge. I zoomed in and realized it was a die crack. I didn't know it at the time, but that nickel turned out to be worth way more than I had expected. Of course, I did some research and got it appraised, and let's just say it was a happy ending for my wallet. The thing is, you're not going to find these crazy valuable coins in every jar of old change you get your hands on. But it's totally worth checking every coin you come across, even if it's just to get a sneak peek at the potential of a forgotten nickel that might be hiding in your collection. Now, if you're thinking, but how the heck do I even get this thing appraised or sell it for top dollar? That's where things get a bit tricky. You'll want to work with a reputable coin dealer or auction house, especially if you think your coin could be worth a small fortune. And make sure to get an official certificate of authenticity, because the last thing you want is someone telling you your $2.5 million coin is just a regular old nickel. Trust me, you don't want to be that person who got excited over a simple misprint. So there you have it, folks. Your 1989 P Jefferson nickel could very well be worth a lot more than the nickel you're used to tossing around. Keep your eyes peeled for those rare minting errors or die cracks, and you could find yourself in the Millionaires Club faster than you can say, "I should have looked harder at that coin." Find a Jefferson nickel sitting there, just chilling on a shelf. You pick it up, flip it over, and boom! You could be holding a coin worth $1 million. Sounds like a crazy dream, right? Well, buckle up, because today, we're diving into the 2022 P Mint Mark Jefferson Nickel, and I'll tell you why this little nickel might just be worth more than you think. Now, before you say, "This guy's lost it," I promise, this is a real thing. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a snack, and let's figure out if you've got a golden, or nickel, opportunity on your hands. So, the 2022 P Mint Mark Jefferson Nickel. What makes it so special? Well, the answer is a little less exciting than you might expect, but it's still a big deal. You see, this coin's been catching the attention of collectors because of a very specific, let's call it, rarity factor. You might already know that coins from specific years and mint marks can hold a lot of value if they've got errors or unique characteristics. In the case of this 2022 P Mint mark, there's been talk that certain versions of this nickel have sold for, wait for it, up to $1 million. Yep, you heard me right. A nickel. A freaking nickel. $1 million. You might be thinking, there's no way that's real. Well, stick with me. This isn't just some pennywise fantasy. We're talking about a really rare case of misprints, and it's kind of a wild ride. Here's the thing, minting errors happen. It's just part of the process. But when the error is as dramatic as a double die or some other wild flaw, collectors go absolutely nuts. And, as you know, when collectors get excited, prices can skyrocket. So far, there's been word of a 2022 P Jefferson Nickel with an error fetching ridiculous prices on the auction block. But wait, don't go running off to check your change jar just yet. Not every 2022 P Nickel is $1 million winner. No. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. These specific errors are super rare, so rare that most people will never find one. And it's also not just about the error. It's about condition, rarity, and how much someone's willing to pay for it. I mean, I've been looking for that $1 million nickel in my own change jar, but so far all I've found is a bunch of rusty pennies. Story of my life, right? But hey, if you've got the right one, it could be your ticket to some serious cash. Now, if you're thinking about searching through your spare change or your coin collection, here's what to look for. First off, inspect the mint mark. Make sure it's the P Mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Second, look for any obvious errors, like a double die, where parts of the design seem doubled or out of alignment. If you're unsure, get it professionally graded. Trust me, a little investment in getting it authenticated can pay off big time. So what's the takeaway here? While not every 2022 P Mint marked Jefferson Nickel is worth a fortune, it's worth checking your coins, especially if you're into collecting rare finds. The possibilities are out there, and you might just have a piece of history that could be worth a whole lot more than you think. And if you enjoyed this wild ride through the world of coin collecting, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of insider tips, tricks, and coin finds you won't want to miss. Plus, I'll keep you updated on the latest valuable coins, and who knows? Your next $1 million nickel might just be around the corner. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, coins don't just sit in your pocket, they could sit in a vault. See you next time. Subscribe now for more coin collecting tips, rare finds, and strategies to cash in on coins that are worth a lot more than face value.